Well, at least ways I can't say I got skunked today. Look at that nasty old dead piece of humpy. Let's see if we can't get that. There we go. We'll just let him just sink right back down to the bottom. Yeah, goodbye. You know, I like to use copper for a lot of things. In this case, I'm using it for a door latch. I'm going to use these two copper T's, and one's going to stick out this way and one's going to stick down this way. And the handles are going to stick out each side, and I'm going to be able to slide the latch. And I'm going to take this opportunity to show you guys how to properly solder. Now, soldering, there are certain things about soldering you just have to do, and one thing is it's got to be clean. Cleanliness is everything when it comes to solder. Now, these are some old fittings I had laying around, so it's pretty obvious you got to clean them up. But sometimes you'll buy some in the store that are brand new and they're shiny and everything else, and you think, well, I don't need to clean those up. Well, let me tell you something. They've got in the store, they've got a thing that they do to trick you. And most people don't know about it, but what it is they will take their nice shiny new fittings and they'll put a clear coat on them. A very, very thin clear coat of paint on them so they stay shiny in the store. Because they want you to buy them. And you're going to only buy the shiny ones. So they want them to stay shiny longer. But if you don't scrub that off of there when you get it, well, you're gonna have leaky pipes, and you're gonna wonder what happened. Those are nice, new, clean pipe fittings, and they just didn't work, and that would be why. So don't be fooled by what you see in the store. You still have to clean it. Now I use this thing here. It's for 1/2 inch on this end and 3/4 on this end, and it works really good for cleaning pipe up. But you can also use sandpaper, works just as well. This is just a little faster. But you just make sure these things are roughed up good and clean, and give the solder something to hang on to. And I really want to show you how to solder in a way that it'll hold water. So if you're doing a plumbing repair, you can use this same method. I set them up like this so that they are definitely off the ground. If you can't always do that, sometimes it's got to be up against wood, but I really don't want to light my door on fire here. So you want to take your and put your flux on all your fittings here. I use a water-soluble flux because when afterwards you can flush the pipes out and it'll be nice and clean. You don't need to glob it on. It doesn't have to be globs and globs of the stuff because it's just wasting the flux. But you do want to make sure you got full coverage. I'd rather put too much on than not enough. And you just get it in there. Alright, and when you take it, you turn them a little bit when you put them in. That way you make sure you get good coverage. Now in this case, I want these fittings to go opposite directions. So I'm going to make sure they're nice and square with each other. I'm going to take my solder, string out a piece out of my roll here about this long, make a nice little hook on the end. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to apply the heat only to the female side, because the male side is going to take care of itself. You've got to give all the attention to the female side right here and heat it up good, and once it's hot enough to melt the solder, then the inside, the male part, is going to be more than ready, and it'll just solder right together. And you do not want to use the flame on the torch to melt the solder. You want to use the metal to melt the solder, because then it'll suck the solder into the joint. So let's take a look here. Get this started. Now you don't want your flame too big because you'll burn it. You don't want it too small or it'll never get hot enough. So I run it right about there. And I'll just start heating up the female side here, just like this. Not ready yet. Look at that. See, now the solder is melting into the fitting. The metal is melting the solder. When you roll it over on the other side, you'll see it. I went all the way around. You got a bead of solder all the way around. Let's zoom in a little closer for the next one. You heat up the tea. How that works. And then watch that. See how it melts on there? Just like that. That's done. You don't need a ton of extra. You look under the bottom, if there's a little bead down here, you can kind of knock it off. Then you check it. Make sure it's, after it cools, because it cools pretty fast. Now, I'm not too happy with that. Look at that. See that? I don't see any solder there. So let's add a little to this side. See how it's sucking it in there? There you go. And see, here's a little bubble of solder here. I don't like that necessarily. Alright. Those are watertight. Now I know you can go to some school or somebody will probably write in the comments that that's sloppy and whatever. But you know what? I've been soldering pipe and water pipe for over 30 years. And I don't have leaks. This works. This will happen. You can use this method and you don't have to worry about it.